It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielsen, Matt Kassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the first ever installment of Two Guys and a Goalie presented by OddsShark. I'm Dustin Nielsen. This is Joaquin Gage, the goalie, and Matt Kassian on the other side of the table. We're off and running, boys. It's live. What do we think? What are we doing?
I thought we were going to have a dry run.
Yeah, I know, that's what we were told. We were told we were practicing.
Well, surprise! We're going for real. It is the Two Guys and a Goalie podcast and live stream. If you're on the live stream, you can feel free to hit us up in the comments section, and we'll definitely get to a few of your questions as we work our way through this. If you're listening to the podcast, we're going to be recording them every Monday and Thursday moving forward. And like we mentioned, presented by OddsShark. And, for people who don't know us, I think it's probably important to introduce us because we do a lot of stuff in Edmonton on the Oilers, but not really around the league just yet. And that's what this podcast is going to be. It's going to be about all across, especially the Canadian teams, but obviously everything that's going on around the National Hockey League. So, Gager, I first met you as my cable guy here in Edmonton, but you played in the NHL. You played overseas for a long time.
Yeah, obviously, I'm the goalie of this thing. Dusty and I go way back to our intimate meetings at Canadian Tire.
Yeah, that's true.
We live on the south side.
Intimate.
It was awkward.
Intimate.
It was awkward a couple times.
Well,
though, right?
I saw you come in, and I always, hey, I'm Joaquin. But yeah, that's so our friendship's gone a long way. And Cass is, we've known each other for
a while,
for
too.
a while now.
For a while,
So,
too.
Just at Vimy and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And alumni skates and
Alumni
stuff.
skates, yeah. I mean, it's a small world.
Yeah.
Right? The hockey world's a small world, and we hang out. So
Do you actually, you guys have never hung out though, have you?
I don't know if we've ever hung out and me picked up the phone and called him and been like, hey, let's go hang out, because he probably would say no. So
No, I would have said yes. It's on those meetings and stuff, and then some Oiler games. We've been to a couple
some Oiler games, sitting
indirectly.
beside each other. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that's about the extent of our relationship.
Well, you're always begging me to hang out. I'm sure you'd like to hang out with
Yeah.
Cass.
I don't know.
That
I'm a
would be
little
okay.
less cool.
Than me?
Well,
No, nobody is less cool than me, man. I'm wearing cargo shorts underneath the sculpture right now. So
I'm not
nobody
wearing
is less
pants.
cool than me. All right, I don't know. I'm sweating in here. Are you guys sweating?
These
It's
lights
warm
are
in here.
bright.
We're going to have to get the AC unit going eventually, but we've got lots to get to, obviously, around the National Hockey League. One of our sponsors is Sport Clips, and I think I heard we've got Hernan Salas. He's helping us here. Hernan, let's bring up the Sports Clip discussion because they've hopped on board, and I think, especially for me and Cass, I don't know about you, Gager, but I think we could both use a little bit of grooming for sure.
I need one right now. Normally, I'm pretty good typically about staying on top of it, and in the last couple of weeks, I've just been busy, and I just kept pushing it, and then I did not think we were shooting live today, so
So that's why you dress like a hobo.
I'm dressed like a hobo, and I need a haircut.
Gager, sorry,
I
man.
want a beard. I wish I could grow the beard and maybe get that manicured. Who has I've seen some NFL guys lately with some really good manicured beards.
Yeah, a few of those guys have been doing pretty good.
My beard sucks.
I'm going to Sport Clips in Ellerslie this week because, well, first of all, it's not a good look anyway, and second of all, I've got a CFL game that I'm going to see.
you do live,
Yeah, I got to do it. I got to look good. So I would think if we're ranking where we are for grooming, I mean, you probably need the most work, I was thinking.
Currently, today, as of today, not typically, I don't think. Usually, like I said, I'm pretty good.
I'd be number 2, and then Gage, you're a low maintenance guy, I would think.
Well, yeah, but I'm self-maintenance. I can do it all myself.
Have you ever had somebody else shave your head for you?
No, I haven't actually.
Where do you come out on wanting that, maybe?
I don't know. That actually, that they use the straight razor, and that just scares me.
Really?
Well,
I mean, it's exactly the same as a normal razor. It's just one.
Yeah, but maybe it's the bad movies or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
You think he's going to slice your
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you should try it one time. I don't know if Sport Clips provides that, but if it does, we should definitely do that and do it.
Yeah, we could.
I do a group hot shave. Even the hot shave. With the
group hot
towels.
shave,
Yeah,
that'd
I'll
be good,
go,
actually.
yeah.
It gets
I
really
could use a
shiny,
little
though.
trim. Are you growing out your beard right now?
You know what? I've had a beard for a while.
Okay.
Like, I don't.
So you cut it down to that level?
Yeah, I usually keep it. I just trim it. I don't go down to the wood, typically.
Ever? No, you just...
Usually not. Like, I'll do a goatee and then I will around here, but even then it's just like I find my skin gets irritated unless I have like a good straight edge, actual, really quality shave. Like I find just the store-bought ones, they just irritate my skin and I hate it. And so since I hate it, I just don't do it. Sensitive. I'm
really
very sensitive. Yeah.
You're super sensitive. What about you?
Oh, really sensitive.
Really?
Yeah. I remember in junior, We were like the Yankees of the WHL.
In Portland?
Yeah.
Okay.
We weren't allowed to grow
That's
beards.
so dumb.
And then we were allowed to for playoffs. If we went to the Memorial Cup, we were allowed to have a beard, and we were.
You were only going to grow it just for the Memorial Cup?
Yeah.
Would have looked awful.
Yeah, but I remember I had to shave because I had it going for a bit, and Ken Hodge said you got to shave that. It was the first round of the playoffs, and I didn't have, because if I use a straight razor, I get all bumpy. And, it's awful. And I remember I shaved before practice, and my face was on fire so bad that I had to take off my mask and go lay in the corner with my face on
It was that bad?
So
Wait. You laid in the corner with your face on the ice?
Yeah, it was practice, not during the game.
Cass, on any of the teams that you played on, was there any sort of facial?
No, but New Jersey had, for the longest time, they tried to be the New York Yankees. So that was the...
Like a Lamorello thing.
Lamorello had a thing about it, is like he wanted to be the New York Yankees. So it's like you weren't allowed, you had to straight edge every day. Like, and he would call guys out on it if they didn't. Like, you would actually pay attention to it. But he's got some other quirks. I mean, you hear stories about he's got like he asked for a secure line in his GM's office.
Because he doesn't trust anybody.
He doesn't trust anybody. Like asks, is that line secure? It's like, you think someone's gonna freaking tap into your line, man? Like, all lines are secure unless you like have multiple like phones attached to it. But yeah, he I think was a little old school with some of that stuff, and I don't know if I can't recall if he tried to take that mentality to Toronto, but I know players
didn't he?
Yeah, I thought he did for a while.
Guys hated it because it's like, well, like, why? Like, I understand you could have like a don't look, like if you didn't want someone doing like the Brent Burns thing, like where you're like, okay, well, nothing like that, but like, come on, like having to be freshly clean shaven every single day, like just dumb.
I just don't know how you could expect, like, you're going to sit down and tell a hockey player who makes $7 million a year, hey, you've got to shave your beard, or you can't have a mustache or something. Like,
Yeah,
like
it's
in junior, I even think it's ridiculous. But at
have
the
them
National
kind of
Hockey League
grow
level, like,
facial.
well, yeah, that's true. That would be an absolute waste of time as well. Anyway, I guess what we wanted to say was Sport Clips. Thanks a lot for hopping on board as one of the sponsors. Odd Shark is our presenting sponsor, but Sport Clips is on board as well, as is Popeye's Louisiana Chicken, and we'll get to that as we work our way through the initial Two Guys and a Goalie podcast here as well. Okay, a few things to talk about in the National Hockey League. Starting with the Mitch Marner contract, because this thing seemed like it was going to drag on, and there's a ton of other RFAs that we'll definitely get to as well. But as far as Mitch Marner goes, I mean, when you look at it, with the number that ended up coming in, was it 6 years, 65 mil, almost 11 mil per year? Gage, it's a number that just blows your mind. I mean,
yeah? I'm shocked.
More than you thought he was going to get?
Way more. I thought it would be more of the bridge deal that they always talk about, but even I look at some of those bridge deals that are being made, they're $5.5 million too. But I don't know. I mean, of course he's a great player, but isn't that a lot of money for
well, they got 6 years, right? So they bought some unrestricted free agency years, which he didn't want to do. Apparently, he only wanted to do the 3-year contract and then cash in a mega deal.
No, he didn't cash in at all, though. Yeah, he didn't cash in. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
He had to settle for $65 million.
Only.
Cass, how much of a spot do you think the Leafs put themselves in, though, in this whole because of the Matthews deal, right? Like,
that's it. It's like, how are they going to afford all of this? How are they going to afford all of this? And I understand with that Mitch Marner contract, I don't know if you saw this, but he had offer sheets. He had a couple offer sheets.
Yeah, I saw that today.
Yeah, I didn't see from where, I didn't look into it yet, but he had offer sheets. So I'm assuming the offer sheets would have been right in that ballpark. It would have had to have been, because that would have just driven his numbers up. But I don't know. Like, I look at that team and I look at the players they have, and even for a guy like Cody Ceci, who they traded for.
Yeah.
Like, he's got 1 year left. And if you're wanting him to stay there,
he's got some critics as well too, right? Like, he wasn't a brilliant pickup anyway, but
okay,
yeah.
I'm going to disagree on that one, actually, quite strongly, just based on where he was playing, who he was playing with, the minutes he was playing, like who he's playing against. Like,
that's a good point. Yeah.
Like, you have to look at the whole situation. So he got the toughest assignments night in and night out, and then got absolutely ripped when he didn't have any forward support and had no one to play with. Like,
so do you think he's capable of dealing with those assignments at a different place, or do you think he just needs
absolutely.
to not have those assignments?
Well, they're not going to be nearly as challenged, because all you have to do with the Toronto Maple Leafs, especially with Marner, is just get them the puck, get the forwards the puck. That's it. All you have to do. And I think he's going to be a little bit not more sheltered, but in a better position to succeed. So when we're looking at that, I go, like, they have no money to spend on their defense unless they start moving out one of those guys up front. Like, they're going to have to. I mean, it's kind of like they made money appear out of nowhere for the salary cap. I don't know how they even managed to sign all those guys, but they're going to be, if they don't win and win right away, they're going to They're going to be in one.
Well, that's
Barry's
what
up
I
next
think.
year too, isn't he?
What's that?
Tyson Barry's up.
Yeah, Barry's a UFA too that they're
Yeah.
going to have to get signed as well. I mean, he could be a big piece for them,
Yeah.
obviously, with some of the offensive guys that they've got. But when you look at it, they've got 3 of the highest paid forwards in the National Hockey League. Gage, do you think, and we're not, I don't want to take a shot at Tavares or any of these guys, but do you think that's a recipe for success to have that much command? And then you throw in $7 million, I think, for Nylander, isn't he? I think he's at 7, so I mean, that's a ton of money dedicated to the top end of the lineup, and those guys are obviously extremely important, but it hasn't, like, that's a significant risk, I think.
You have to know that your bottom guys are going to pull their own weight, because come trade deadline time or acquiring other assets, you just don't have any cap room. That's ridiculous. But I'm a goalie guy. I'm the goalie guy in this. As long as Freddie Anderson keeps being Freddie Anderson, they'll be all right.
Yeah, he's a good goalie, actually. I think he's up at the end.
He's
of
up
this year,
too, though.
Yeah, so it's like, how much are you going to have to pay him?
Yeah, he's going to be.
It's a lot of money. Well, then let me ask you this, because I was thinking about, and this might not come across the right way, but was John Tavares worth it? Like, that was a huge contract, and it was a big win because, oh my God, the Leafs got Tavares from the island where people thought he was going to stay. But at the same time, you knew the money was coming from Matthews. You knew the money was coming from Marner. You knew you were going to have to pay Nylander, and that obviously drug on. And you know that you've got to get your defense kind of sorted out at some point. Do you think, in the end, I hope it's worth it for John Tavares. But was it a little risky, or did you have to do it?
Don't you think you needed to have the 1-2 in the playoffs, though? You knew you were probably going to have to play against Boston, and you couldn't have.
Well, you had Kadri at the time, right?
Yeah,
He would have been the number 2 guy,
I guess. So you needed some more scoring on that number 2 to go up against Boston. I think.
But you're young. I think you had to rely on your young guys that you knew you're going to have to pay that are stepping up, because it's not just a win today, win this year. And I think almost, that's it. I don't want to say a knee-jerk reaction to sign Tavares to that deal, but it's like a impulse. We need that second guy. When you had a lot of young second guys, they just needed a little bit more time. So it's like, well, you still would have made the playoffs. You still would have been able to make a push, and then you'd be better suited with a lot more cap room this season and next season to really try to cross whatever hurdles you have, like on the defensive side, or signing Freddie Anderson if you need to. Like, I don't know. I understand the win today mentality, and I appreciate it, but I don't know if it was money that best spent. And that's not like he's a great player, and from a contract perspective, he's probably worth that number. But,
yeah, it's true.
Just in their situation, I don't know if it was worth it for them.
Yeah, because there's a lot of money to dish out there.
Babcock goes to Toronto because he knows if he ever wins a cup,
he'll be a legend.
He's a legend. So this is just me goalie thinking, but do you think if
Goalie.
I love
goalie thinking.
What's
Weird
this not gonna
thinking.
be?
Goalie thinking is weird thinking.
if you have all your money tied up already and you're a good team, do you think you can acquire guys for less money but want to come to Toronto? They know they have a chance to win a Stanley Cup, but they'll take less because they have that chance, and then they'll become that legend to bring that cup to Toronto?
Well, Milan Lucic took less to come to Edmonton than was offered.
Did he?
Chance to become a legend.
Yeah,
He left
he's
some
a
money on the
legend.
table.
He's a legend. It worked.
He did become a legend.
He did
That
become a
is
legend.
that is true. Okay, so the Marner deal's done, but Rantanen, Tkachuk, Points, Connor, Laine, Brock Besser. I've been covering the league for 10 years now. I've never seen a group of guys like, well, Cass, I mean, have you guys ever seen a group of players with this much talent not in camp and not going to be ready to go?
No.
This is unheard of.
You know what, though? It's going to start happening unless, depending on what happens with the CBA, it's going to start happening more often. Like, that's the way, and I thought this going back to when we were negotiating back the last CBA, was that you're going to create a system where you have your top-end guys that are going to get paid. You're going to completely squeeze out, let's call it that middle class, like those middle contracts, and then you're going to have young guys that want to get paid sooner. And so what's going to happen is you're going to have a higher turnover ratio, like guys that are playing that third, fourth line position, where they're going to play 1 or 2 years, and that's going to be it. That's it. They're done. Guys don't have as much time to develop. It's like the 19, 20, 21. If you're not in the league by the time you're 21, you're done. And so what's now happened is players in these RFA positions, they want that piece of the pie, and they want it early because they know that middle group of, let's call it the mid to late 20s, before guys get their UFA status, they want to get paid, because when guys get to UFA, if they're not like one of the top, and a couple of these guys will be top end players, but if they're not all the way up there like Connor McDavid, like getting the $11 million contracts, that there's just not going to be anything there for them. So they're trying to get paid now, and they're doing it as a unit, really.
Yeah, that's what it. Yeah, Marner's kind of the first one to sort of break rank, and he ended up. I mean, if these guys can get a 6-year deal for $65 million, or probably not that level, but pretty darn close. Mikko Rantanen just as many points as Mitch Marner, and plays a little bit of a different style, but is just as important, I think, to the Colorado Avalanche. Gager, if you're these kids, and that's what they're 21, 22 years old. Like these are young guys. So is it worth it? Is it worth it to make this push at this stage of your career? Do you think? Do you have to do it now?
Yeah, because I think if the middle of the pack guys, those guys, that's who the PA fights for, is for them to make their money earlier, right? But
no, they fight for the top end guys. They fight for the top end. That is it.
They want the middle guys.
No, they don't want the middle guys,
so they last longer.
No, then what? No. That's what they've they're starting to change to that. They're starting to shift to that because they've now realized that we're running guys out of jobs. Like guys are playing for 2 years and that's it. Where it has and it always will be a focus on the top end guys. That's it.
That's a pretty small percentage of the whole league, though.
But that's the guys that they focus on. Look at all the CBAs. Look at the last two lockouts. Like it's been focused on the top guys, and it's everything structured to the top guys. Rookies were the first to go. They get the worst end of the deal, and then it's the middle guys, and then the top guys get the best benefit. I mean, not shifting gears here, but I know, chatting with some agents, that what they're pushing for, the agents are pushing for, and what I'm not sure how much the NHLPA has bought in, is they want to go to a 3-tiered contract system. That'll be something to talk about later, where you have your you have your entry-level deals, and then you have like a next entry-level deal, and then you have your and then you have your into the UFA. Like
you said, the agents want it.
The agents want. Well, you think about it, even from an agent standpoint and from the NHLPA standpoint, is that like if you have the choice for these teams, you're paying a guy, Mitch Marner, $11 million a year. You don't have much cap space. It's way easier for you to bring in a $500,000, I guess it's higher than that now, but like a $600,000 player on an entry-level deal, as opposed to keep some guy, at 1.5 or 2, because there's just not the money there. So what they're trying to do is to, instead of Mitch Marner getting $11 million, is saying, okay, well, we're going to put some restrictions on that middle bridge contract.
Like something they do in the NBA.
Yeah, like you have
sort of thing.
Yeah, you have a bridge contract that has some restrictions to it. But yeah, I mean, we went sideways, but I completely disagree. They look out for the top guys, and that's it.
Well, I like both of you guys. I don't want to be in the middle of an argument. Well, okay, bring up our Popeyes poll question.
Ooh, chicken.
Is that here
Say that again. Say that again.
Chicken.
Ooh, chicken. Oh. It is delicious. All right, so which RFA will hold out the longest? We've got Laine, Point, Besser, Tkachuk, and Rantanen. I didn't put Kyle Connor on the list because I just feel like one of those guys in Winnipeg needs to sign. Like, you have to get one of those two guys done, I would think. So, Cash, answer the question. Who's
going to hold it the longest?
Yeah, who do you think's the last one to sign?
Point.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
I thought he would be the first one to sign.
You think he'd be the first? I think he's going to be the last. And I think he's going to be the last because I think they're in the stickiest situation. Tampa, from a contractual standpoint, Winnipeg is a little bit. They have a lot of pressure, and I think, as you said, a lot of motivation. I think to get at least one of those guys signed. And I think for Point, he wants a shorter-term deal. But if you look, the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to be in a situation already like the Leafs are, like where there's not a lot of money there. From a cap standpoint, there's not a lot of money there, and I think he wants more than what they really have to offer, and he's going to be able to put a little bit of a squeeze on them. So that being said, they're a really good team, so they can apply pressure that way. But if anyone's holding out a longer time, I honestly think it's going to be him.
Gager, who are you going with?
I would say Laine, just because his body language when
he's
talking.
He's European. That's what he is.
Too.
He's a European.
He just seems like he doesn't want to go back to Winnipeg. To me, I get that feeling from him.
Wants to go to California.
Yeah, no, I think he's
live the life down there.
He's done in the past.
I think I would agree with you. I think I'd probably go Laine. Now, so Jesse Puljujärvi wanted out. He's over in Finland right now. Julius Honka, a Finnish kid out of Dallas. He just requested a trade. We're both picking Laine to be like, did you guys play with Finns? I thought Finns were easygoing, good timing dudes.
Well, you can never really know because it's so monotone. Like, even if they're joking, it's just all at the same level. And so you really have to be like, I can't tell if he's serious or not. And then you guess, and then you're usually wrong. But, no, I don't know. They're mostly pretty even keeled, but it's almost like they logic it out. But again, that's So I mean, not everyone was like that. There were some guys that were just like so even keel, and then there were some guys that were a little bit more fiery and emotional. And even if they talk in monotone, you can kind of hear by the words that they're saying that they're fired up.
Out of all the guys that they played with that are Finns, did they all like that death metal? Like really,
a lot of them do.
They love death metal.
Yeah, a lot of them do.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like they all listen to that stuff.
A lot of them do.
It's weird.
Yanni Niedema.
Oh, he
Yeah.
loved that stuff.
Yeah, Yanni. I played with him in the world's longest hockey game. I was his roommate for 10 days. And he like promotes death metal in Finland
he's like
now.
a
Like that's
death
one of his
metal.
things. Like,
He's like the Puff Daddy of Finland.
well, let's not get that carried away. But he is a beauty. I mean, most of these guys are really good dudes. All right, so there's your Popeyes chicken poll question, and thank you to Popeyes for hopping aboard. I know we're gonna get some of the Popeyes in here for one of these episodes.
Will we get the sandwiches?
Which is,
they
well,
have
I
the
mean, if you
sandwiches?
ask politely, Gager, you can have the sandwiches. I haven't had the sandwiches.
Me neither.
Like creating the huge issue right now. So, Cassie, have you had it? No, you haven't had it. Apparently, it's amazing. Apparently, the pickle tastes like chicken, which I'm not a big fan of pickles on my sandwiches anyway. But I have
Pickles
to try.
and chicken sandwiches, man, you gotta have them.
Oh yeah.
Fried chicken, you have to have it. It's like you
It's
got
the only way to have it.
It's the only way of having it. It's
So
like
are you saying that
mayo
every fried chicken sandwich I've ever had is not?
is not correct? Yeah, you need pickles.
Really?
Extra pickles.
Extra pickles.
Extra
Oh,
pickles.
pickles
Oh,
on
right.
it.
It's you know what you need the acid, the vinegar
To, like-
to cut through the deep friedness of the chicken.
That's why it
and the
works
bun.
so well?
Yeah.
Oh,
You
Adds a
look
little
online
crunch.
for every sandwich picture, like fried chicken sandwich, there'll be a pickle in it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Every single one.
Every single one.
I think
is
you're
put.
probably exaggerating a little bit.
Almost every single one.
All right. Anyway, I'm going to talk to Kyle at Popeyes. We're going to get some of those sandwiches dropped off. Okay, so the forwards. There's some hesitation right now on the RFA forwards. We just talked about the guys who aren't signing, but in the last week, Zach Werenski on the blue line, 3 years. Or 3 years at $5 million per. Morrissey got an 8-year deal at 6.25. Provorov 6 years, 6.75. McAvoy 3 years, 4.9 mil. And then Spurgeon, he's older, he's 29, so basically all UFA years, but they kept him around 7 years at 7.5 mil. To me, some of these guys like Werenski for 3 years at 5. McAvoy 3 years at 4.9. Like those seem like pretty good numbers for those teams, aren't like? I'm looking at these forwards who are holding out like crazy, and I'm looking at these D-men and going, I think these teams are, I don't want to say a bargain, but I think they're getting a pretty good deal on these D-men, are they not?
Yeah, well, what are they? Werenski and McAvoy, they're both 21, 22 now.
They're coming off their first deals, right?
First deal. So that's the bridge deal is actually
Yeah.
$5 million. That's not bad. Like
Yeah.
for 3 years, that's great.
Yeah.
I think McAvoy in particular, I look at that because I know we don't talk about him much here in Edmonton, but he's a player. And he's gonna be really good for a lot of years.
How does
so
Boston keep doing that? They grab these like legendary defensemen that every 4 or 5 years. They have Chara for so long. Now McAvoy's he's gonna be rolling in Boston for the next 13 years as a top 5 defenseman in the league. I would say he's great.
Yeah,
he's
Plays
a
over
great
25 minutes in the playoffs. He just munches minutes. He's physical.
every situation guy
Oh,
too.
he's
He'll
just-
play. He'll do anything.
I think you made a point, Cass. Like he kind of flies under the radar a little bit.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Which is why when I saw 4.9, I was like, man, that's a hell of a deal.
Hell of a deal.
You're gonna have McAvoy, who by the time this deal's done, let's say in 3 years, Gage, you said top 5, but I mean conservatively, let's say he could be a top 10 defenseman, and you got him for 4.9 mil, which
Yeah.
is, I mean, that's really good 3 years value right
But
there.
didn't their top guys take a little bit less so they could sign
Like the
some more
Krejcis and the
guys?
Bergerons and stuff.
Yeah, I
I
thought.
think they're probably still pretty well paid.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I thought I heard that or something.
What about Spurgeon, Cass? I know you know Spurgeon. Like that's a pretty.
I mean, I'm
good
gonna be
player.
biased.
Yeah.
A little Spurge.
Yeah.
He's my little Spurge buddy. I've lived in his house before, so.
Okay, now you lived in like a roommate or in
So that would have
in
been
a basement suite or what?
So lockout would have been lockout back in 2013 because I was in Minnesota for most of it. He was there and then back. So they weren't using their place for a while. Like they were back in Edmonton,
Okay.
and rather than me just renting an apartment at that time, I was just like, well. I mean, we didn't know what was going to happen, so I'm like, well, I'll just stay at Spurgeon's house until he kicks me out. Eventually,
never
they did.
kicked you out?
Well, it was until I was there until his wife came because she was up
Okay.
in Minnesota with their son Zach, and so it was until they came down, and then they kicked me
And
out.
then you got kicked out.
I had Zach's room.
Now did you? Were you like, okay, good, you guys are back, and then
Yeah.
you left, or did you like, hey, good to be here with you for a bit?
Yeah.
Like,
Do you want to put like his stuff in your room, and
Yeah.
you guys can all stay in there, and I'll just keep this to myself?
so that wasn't the case.
No, I knew. We talked about it before. It's like when they come back, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna have to go get my own place.
Okay, but so your bias.
Yeah,
but at the
completely
same time,
biased.
we were talking about McAvoy kind of flying. Some of these demons flying under
Oh,
the radar.
he flies absolutely under the radar.
100%.
I remember the first game, so it would have been in Houston in the minors that I saw him play, and just watching, like he made the first couple plays, first couple shifts, and I thought to myself, I'm like, this guy, he's not going to be here very long.
You knew right away.
Oh, you knew right away. Just watching the way he processed the game, and still does. Like he thinks the game incredibly well because he's a smaller guy, and now the league has shifted. So it's
But
like
he
a
still had
smaller league.
success though, right?
But
Like,
he still had success even when it was
Yeah.
more of like a physical big man defenseman game. Like he just thinks the game really, really well. Same type of player where he can play in pretty much every situation and he's going to be fine. So I think that's a healthy number. I mean, you could talk about how towards the end of it are you going to get the value, but you're buying up all UFA years, so it's not. To me, I look at that and I go, that's not a awful deal for where he's at. I mean, if you would have said, well, could Edmonton get him for that cost for 7 years? I would have been like, absolutely, snap this guy up.
Gager has the goalie on the podcast, which we're going to mention a ton. To
The
have a guy,
weirdo, just say the weirdo.
Yeah,
Goalie
the
and
weirdo.
the same thing. It's the weirdo.
Okay, well, let me just
alright.
follow through on that
All
weirdo
right.
comment. Is that how you guys approach goalies when you're?
I've not met
like,
a normal goalie, like, and that's not in a bad way. They're not weirded in a bad way. They're just everyone. They're just a little bit. Everyone's a little off. It's like lefty relief pitchers in baseball, punters like in football. I mean, I know you talk to Whitey all the time.
Yeah, Sean Whitey, the Eskimos.
You guys, there's
yeah.
just always something a little weird with them. Like just always something. It's like you meet one and you think they're normal for a long time, and then all of a sudden something happens, and you're like, yep.
Yeah, just
Okay, so when when you hang around other goalies, is it all just normal to you, or are you like,
yeah.
man, some of these guys are really weird?
it's all ccloaks and candles. And
It's a secret
seances.
society.
Oh yeah, the daggers come out.
There's a goalie handshake.
Sacrifice some Popeye chicken and
I do.
Isn't that from one of the baseball movies where they got the
Major League,
the
yeah.
Major League, the chicken?
Yeah,
in the
Major
stall.
League. Yeah.
Chicken in the
Serrano.
stall, yeah.
Serrano, yeah,
Instead of the actual chicken, they fried
brought him
chicken.
a bucket.
Yeah.
Screw you, Joe Blue. I'll do this by myself.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
No, that was good. Okay, so. But are you okay with, like, do you identify, do you own the weirdness with the goalie or no?
See, to me, I don't see it.
Really?
Right now, I'm in it.
Gager, I promise you, we see it.
Well, good.
I 100% promise you that we see it.
That's great.
Okay, Kuznetsov. Evgeny Kuznetsov gets a 3-game suspension. Cash, you're already shaking your
You're
head.
just gonna see me. When I make a video, I gotta get used to this. You're just gonna see me just doing this all the time.
Just a bobblehead. We need to get a bobblehead of Kassian in front of Kassian.
just shaking.
That would be good. Okay, so, so he tests positive, just to bring everybody up to speed. Everybody probably already knows, but he tests positive on the IIHF. They suspend him for 4 years for playing internationally for Russia, and then the National Hockey League gives him 3 games. Okay, so why were you shaking your? What part of it?
I was shaking my head about the stupidity of it. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? I mean, first is like, what are you doing just from a career standpoint? I mean, and I understand there's people, they like to go party and like to have fun, but it's just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then putting yourself in a position where that could get filmed. Like, what do you like? What I do not understand. I do not understand what you're doing, why you're doing it. It just makes from a career, from a life choices, from like an everything standpoint. It's just like it's stupid. So that's why I was shaking my head. Not about the suspension or about the 3-game, like the IHF or the 3-game. Like just like, what are you doing? It's just stupid.
It was pretty stupid. And the test came out so longer after we saw the video of him sitting there, and you're just like, oh, surprise! He tested
yeah,
positive.
yeah.
Like, don't even just own it. Don't even try to say it wasn't mine or whatever. But here's okay. So I was thinking about this on the way here today, and you guys can correct me if I'm like way off base on this, because it's gonna be weird because I don't support anything that he did, and I'm completely fine with the suspension, but he didn't fail an NHL test. Right? It wasn't so.
It kind of feels like that football.
Yeah, it
like
seems
I'm
to
just
me
going to
like,
have an arbitrary.
hey, I think they did it to save face.
Yeah.
I think the National Hockey League looks at it and goes, well, he didn't test positive for anything that we test for in our league with one of our tests. So really, why are you just suspending him because it's a bad look? Like, that's basically what this is, isn't it, Gager? Like from the NHL perspective, like, I get the IHF. You want to ban him for 4 years, ban him for 4 years. He failed one of your tests.
Yeah,
but he didn't fail an NHL test.
I don't think the NHL, if he's going to get a suspension over here, I think it should be from the Capitals themselves. I mean, any contract
that's a good idea.
that you sign, there is a clause in there like your conduct's unbecoming or detrimental to the team, and a highly profiled person in Washington doing an illegal substance, that I would get the Capitals, I would get the team to look after it. Because, I mean, yeah, it looks bad on the NHL. One of their guys is doing coke, but I don't really care. It's performance enhancing. I don't know.
Well, it's not performance enhancing.
Well, double IHF. I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah. I mean, it's illegal.
It's the
It's
Coke Olympics.
illegal. Like,
I think the Coke Olympics would be funny to watch. I'd watch that.
those people rolling around, scratching themselves in the ground. Yeah.
I think the Coke Olympics would be funnier to watch. Oh my goodness. Before we get to training camp stories, because I want to talk a little bit about camp with camp opening up. We're going to get to some early Stanley Cup odds as well. I wanted your guys' opinion on this, and this is not hockey related at all, but it's something I did over the weekend, and I feel bad about it, and I think I should feel bad about it, but I called a football game in Vancouver on Saturday, and I'm flying back, and I don't even want to mention this part of it, but have you've gone up to you go to the Plaza, like Platinum Lounge, and have you gone up to like the Premium Lounge in the hotel airports and stuff, or in the airports?
Yeah, I've done it before.
Yeah. First of all, it's an amazing deal, because if you're going to be in an airport for an hour and a half, okay, and you can go sit at a pub, it's going to cost you like $80 to have 4 drinks. I paid like $29 to sit in this private lounge for like 2 hours. I had like a lasagna dinner, a crushing spice rum and cokes. It was great. But I went up to the buffet dinner that they have, and they had lasagna. And I took a big scoop of lasagna, put it on my plate. And then I looked, and like nobody was around. So I took the spoon and like scooped off all the melted cheese on the top. I put it on my plate, and then left. And like I'm sitting there, and I was like eating it under like radar. I was like, man, I hope nobody sees. But so you went back to lasagna, and the entire like top layer was off.
So like, how much lasagna was left?
Like 80% of the lasagna.
So this wasn't like you just took like from 2 or 3 pieces. Like,
no, I swear to God, I cleaned off like the entire thing.
So you treated the executive lounge like your home.
Yeah, the executive lounge was like my home.
because you wouldn't be able to get away with that at home.
Yeah, but that's a good point. If I would have done that at home, my wife would have lost her mind, and I would have blamed my 4-year-old son. Yeah.
It was Marshall.
Yeah. So is that greasy, or you could like?
That's greasy.
No,
Yeah,
nobody
that's
else is.
bad.
Like I'm like.
That's terrible.
At a pregame meal, that'd be funny, though.
Oh yeah, no,
That
but
would be
that's
hilarious.
different. That's
Yeah.
like you do that just to drive.
That's why I wanted to ask you guys, because you guys probably had a ton of
You
stuff.
can't
like
do
that.
that alone, but if you were with like me and did it, then it's acceptable.
It's completely different. Yeah, if
So,
you're with another guy,
you're
you
gonna
But
look
if
at
it's
him.
just you,
Well,
we're never gonna share a lasagna. Like I don't think.
Well, we'll never be in a lounge either.
Well, maybe who knows? But I felt greasy about it though. I was hoping one of you guys would be like, I would have
That's
done the
us.
same thing.
I mean, it'd be just for example, it'd be like we had a little thing of pickles. We had Popeye's chicken sandwiches, and you took all the pickles and you were just staring at us, and you put all the pickles like on yours and didn't leave any left. Like that's funny. That's okay. That's funny.
That's like taking all the
Is
chicken.
that really
and
the
putting
same
it
though?
But it's like, but if you went to the Popeyes and they had like their little jar of pickles and they had no other pickles in the back, and you took all those pickles and you put them on your sandwich and went by yourself without anyone else there, so like it doesn't fly well.
No, it would
It's
be
a bad look.
taking the skin off our chicken
Oh, there you go.
and putting it in your sandwich.
More
So
crispy.
we just
You get the crispy. You get the crispy. We get the nothing.
You know, as a kid when I used to eat the chicken, I would just take the skin off. I didn't like the chicken part. Yeah, it was not good.
That was the best part.
All right, so you guys don't justify me on the.
No.
You know, I did feel guilty
Absolutely
while I was
not.
eating it. I kept looking at everybody else who went up to the lasagna after, and part of me was like, damn, you know, I was really greasy what I did. But at the same time, do you know how good that melted cheese is on top of lasagna? It's awesome.
But how much do you need? Like,
Well, and look,
did you at least
first
did
of
you
all,
have
it
like
wasn't
bread
like
or like
the
garlic bread to eat with the cheese?
No, there was no garlic bread. That was, I mean, what type of premium lounging I am? There's no garlic bread. But, like, it wasn't the size of this table here. It was, like, the size of, like, 2 iPads put together.
Oh, that's it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's
I'm
it,
thinking
yeah.
like
So it's only like 4 cups of cheese versus like
it's what's that? 4,000 calories?
Yeah, something like that.
Wait a second. Is that a bad thing? I hadn't, look, maybe this helps in my defense. I hadn't eaten anything since, like, 9 o'clock in the
No,
morning, and it was 9 o'clock at night. I was starving, Kat.
Right. So instead of going to get like another piece and taking another piece of lasagna,
Well, I didn't want all the rest of the lasagna.
right?
I
You just wanted the cheese.
cheese off the top.
You might have something there. Maybe someone will start doing that. Lasagna cheese.
Yeah, just the cheese.
Straight cheese.
Just layers of cheese with a little bit of meat in it.
What's this? This is a new dish.
I think that
What is it? Lasagna
I think that would
cheese.
be okay.
How do you make it? You melt cheese
Yeah,
on a
that's
plate.
it. Yeah, I just want lasagna.
No, it's like the
cheese.
muffin top. You have to make the lasagna too. and then you just take the cheese out.
Yes.
You can't just make you have to make the bottom too.
That's right. You can't just melt the cheese.
No,
You need to have
you
muffin
need to have
sauce.
the lasagna. It's not lasagna cheese.
Have you seen those muffin pans that have like it's like it is only the top?
Yeah,
they don't
those
have
suck.
Just a small little.
Yeah, they have like a tiny little
Yeah.
like divot instead. It's like
Is that a thing now? You can actually
Yeah.
just make
Yeah.
the top of the muffins? Just from Seinfeld.
Yeah, I know.
That's probably 100%. Like that's where that's
Yeah.
from. That's kind of cool. An entire industry builds off of that. All right, training camp is underway. Gage, let me start with, and maybe our answers are different because you're a goalie and Cass, you're not. But is training camp a waste of time, or do you like is it get up to speed? Is it good?
What, for a player or
No,
a
for
fan?
you. Well, for you. Well, for a fan, I mean, I guess I'm the fan guy on this show,
Yeah.
and I could do without it. I mean, I'd like to skip ahead to the regular season, but what about like start with your angle on it?
When I was younger, I loved it just because you're going to pro camp. But then as I got older, I didn't like it as much. It was just I wanted to just go and start playing games, just get rid of the meet and greets and stuff. I understand the physical testing and stuff, but I didn't like, because I mean you go to those camps and there's only a few spots open anyway. To have
It's like everybody comes in, it's like, I'm going to make the team.
What a waste of time.
they have their names written down already.
Oh,
Yeah.
my.
Unless someone completely blows the wheels off.
The funniest thing is when you're a bubble guy and you go to the list of what room you're in and stuff
that's
and your
the
numbers
worst.
and like you're
your
looking
line
at
mates
who
are,
you're
you're just
and
like,
you're
oh,
like, oh
crap.
my god, I didn't make it.
Like
Day
right
one,
away.
day one, yeah. You're just like, no, nothing here for me.
I was
Yeah, I'm
playing.
done.
I was playing men's league. This reminds me because if you get a shitty number, you know,
Yeah.
like if it's way up there, you're not making the team. And we were playing these young kids, and a lot of them had been drafted and stuff. And I remember one kid, he had like Jet stuff on. He's from here. He's a good little player. I don't know his name, but he had like 76 on his helmet and stuff. And he was yapping or something. And someone said, "Is that your number in camp?" And he said, "I don't like your chances."
It's true though. It's like when your number starts to drop, that's
Oh,
how
then
you
you're
know.
good,
That's
yeah.
how you know you're like, okay.
So if you roll into
camp.
camp and number 24 is waiting for you.
Oh, you're
Well,
like
you're
you're
like
in
on the team.
good shape
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in good shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have to see who's in your dressing room too, because I remember the one year we were out in Millennium Place, and I was in with like Doug Waite and stuff, and I was like, yes. And then they moved me, and I was like, no.
Oh, mid camp?
Yeah, mid camp.
Oh,
like,
no.
Oh no.
It depends on the team though, because different teams do different ways. Like there was some, so Jacques Lemaire had like everyone was mixed, kind of like Tippett here. Like
Okay.
it didn't matter what room you were in or
Yeah.
what like practice group you were with. But then like Todd Richards and Mike Yeo, it was like split from day one. It was like you had like with Mike Yeo especially, it was like you had your main dressing room and then you had your AHL dressing room. And if you were in the AHL dressing room, nope. Maybe,
chance, like-
Yeah.
maybe they would pull a couple guys, like 3 or
hoping
4
somebody
guys would
gets hurt.
switch. Yeah, well, or they'd flip around like partway through camp. They'd like pull 3 or 4 guys out of here and like make a line on the in the main room, and then some guys would go over there, and it's like those were like your bubble guys. But everyone else is like, I know where I'm going. And that part of camp was dumb. I like the part of camp at the start. I hated the fitness testing. I still think it's like you're gonna be able to tell whether a guy's in shape or not. Like what
When he gets on the ice?
yeah, like what is doing a Wingate and a VO2 gonna tell you about like
I was so exhausted after that.
yeah,
it was
it's
a waste of a day.
It's a waste of a day. It's just a waste of a day.
And the thing is, when I was younger, like I prepared for the physical testing.
Yeah,
you know,
that's just it.
Like I made sure I could do 100 sit-ups, and I could
You could
ride
sit-ups
the
and
bike
pull-ups
and
and long
pull
jumps
and
and
do all
everything,
this stuff that didn't help me
It's
stop
just
the
like,
puck
yeah.
one. And I was just
gonna do?
exhausted, just exhausted.
Yeah, what is it
It's
gonna do?
stupid. I can see a physical, like a doctor's physical, maybe
Yeah, well-
some sort of stress test with the heart and
Yeah,
stuff like
that's
that.
fine.
But that's fine.
The medical stuff.
It's like noodles. I've never seen a stationary bike score a goal.
Yeah, that's
or
just it.
stop a
That's
puck.
Just doesn't make
Actually,
sense.
if you put the bike in when I played, maybe.
Maybe. Are the pedals spinning or
Yeah,
not?
yeah. Is it a Peloton? Maybe a Peloton.
First pro training camp. What was that like, Cass?
Or first pro one. Oh, he's gonna laugh because I know, like when I was on one of the other podcasts the other week, I was
Yeah.
talking about him, so he's gonna listen to this one
Okay.
too. My old buddy Riley Emerson. So it would have been like first training camp. We'd both been drafted, both in training camp. Jacques Lemaire training camp. So you didn't have fitness testing with Jacques, which was perfect.
Really?
He didn't do it for the same reason. He's like, I'm gonna be able to tell. I can't do a good French accent, but like when you're on the ice, he's like, I'm gonna see, so I don't need to do the fitness testing. He's like, I'm gonna see if you're in shape just by how you're playing. And so it was like a hard lap, first practice. like hard lap after drill ends, blows the whistle. Riley Emerson's skating, and Riley's like me, like he's big, slow, tough guy, but I think we're both big, slow, 18-year-old kids, right?
Yeah.
You're not moving very quick. Wes Waltz, who was probably all fired up on ephedrine at the time because it was still like legal and you're allowed to have it. And, I mean, there's another story about him basically filling up a whole truck full of it when they announced they were taking it off the shelves because he used it before every game. And Wes, he's doing media stuff in Minnesota now, and he's like awesome guy. But as an 18-year-old kid, you're skating around, and I just see Waltz wind up skating hard lap after drill, wind up and just two-hand Emerson as we're skating around, and Emerson just goes down because he didn't think Emerson was skating fast enough.
What?
Like in the hard lap. Wes just skates by, just two hands him. Riley goes down and is trying to figure out like what just happened. And I was watching this going like, what is going on right now? Like, what,
oh my God.
What world are we in? That was my first skate. And then first practice in the National Hockey League in like main camp. I was just like trying to figure out what was happening. I'm like, this can't be real.
That's crazy. And you were 18 then? That was like.
Would have been like 18.
Yeah, like after being drafted.
Yeah, my birthday already. No, it would have been still 18. I can't remember.
Yeah,
whatever. 18, 19. Yeah, first training camp.
Gage, what about you?
Well, again, it was Oilers training camp way back, and they separated everyone. So it was.
So you were in like the 6th room.
Oh no, yeah, we were all in the back. Remember in Rexall, the back room. So, but it was Group A, Group B, Group C was the NHL guys.
Okay.
And the first session you just practice. So Group A would practice, Group B would practice, and then Group C with the NHL guys. They would come in, practice, play, and then leave. And then Group A and B would have to go back out after they were done. And then we'd scrimmage. So you'd go and watch the C group because that's where all the NHL guys were, and that's where we wanted to be. And I remember everyone just wanted to make sure that they didn't have to get touched or get hit for the rest of training camp. So there was always one guy that did something really weird, and just to make sure that. And I was the recipient one year, but this was a few years later. But I remember Bernie Nichols. He got hit in the corner, and he turned around and two-handed some young kid. He didn't hit him, but the stick missed his face like by this and no one went near Bernie the rest of
the camp. It was a pretty
space for yourself. Yeah.
But he made sure. Manson did some weird stuff too.
Yeah.
He hacked and whacked and elbowed and stuff, but they just created so much space in training camp that they were the best players on the ice after that.
Cass, how much do you think camp is different now than when you came in, especially in your role? Like camp nowadays, there's no fighting or anything, right? Like,
back when I was drafted, because Boogie was there.
Yeah.
I do not think I was never on the ice with him at the same time, unless we were on the same team in a game situation, like not even in practice.
Yeah.
Like we're on the same team in a game situation. I was on his team a couple times, and like they'd move the groups around, but I never was on the ice with him for practice, as far as I can remember, and never on the ice with him on the opposite team for a game, because they knew that the first thing I would have done as an 18, 19-year-old kid is go after Boogie. Like, I'm trying to take this guy's job. That was the first thing I would have done. And it's changed. I mean, the game as a whole has changed. We could spend episodes talking about the culture of these kids playing now and their perspective, and right or wrong, it's different. Expectations heading into camp are different. The way they get pampered is different. The roles of rookies and young guys is different. Like rest, the amount of rest is different. Even from a nutritional standpoint, what teams are doing now is different. So it's just I think the objectives of training camp have shifted a little bit to where, I mean, you know what the team is going to be. They basically know. Maybe you want to see a couple surprises, but really it has become, even training camp is like a development check. Right? It's like they're seeing where everyone is at from a development standpoint. They're not evaluating to see who's going to be on the team and who's not on the team, because they already know.
Yeah, that's a great point, because I was going to ask you, Gage, like, how does somebody go in and make the team now?
You gotta
someone really has to fuck up to upset the balance of what they have. Like, they know they might have one or two positions that they're thinking of, and
they've got one or two guys already kind of slotted in.
Yeah, and even when you hear, like, I think I heard today that they're saying, oh, you got to come in here and take someone's job if you want it. Mm-hmm. And some of that's a little bit true, but no. Unless someone gets injured or really, you have to be so much better than that guy just to get a look to stay around. And then you might only get a couple shifts to prove you can keep that job, right?
So a lot of these guys who get penciled in these spots are the guys who are drafted high.
Yeah.
So being like
They
a
get the
third,
first
fourth, or
opportunity.
fifth round guy now, it's got to be even more difficult than it was 10, 15 years ago.
I think that's always stayed the same. It does. If you're in the same.
You think you've always had that? Which
Oh
is,
yeah.
I mean, I
if,
get it.
If
I
you have
totally
a
get
first
it.
rounder, second rounder, and you're a fourth or fifth rounder, and you're competing for that same job, it's basically the same thing. You have to be so much better than that first or second rounder to make the team than the late rounds. And even if you end up down in the minors, you have to be so much better than them and playing better down there, because they're always going to pull up the first and second.
Cass, do you think it was easier for you to stand out just because of the role you had? Like, because people knew if you were going to
you're
come
more
in, you were going to
specialized.
fight
You're more
somebody,
specialized, right?
Yeah.
It'd be like a goalie, like where I think
We had a lot in common that way.
Yeah, like for goalies, it's going to be a little bit different because as a goalie, if you step in and you
throw out a big kick save.
throw out a big kick save, like the one knee slide, like it's just more, it's more noticeable. And so for me, it was the same thing. It's like where you're more specialized in the role you were going to play. So it's like you had less people you were going up against because there was less people that could perform that role. So it was different for me, and even being a second round guy, which I mean we can talk about that later.
What scout evaluated you as a second rounder?
Hey, I was ranked to go in. You know what? I was ranked to go in the fourth. I probably would have went in the third to Calgary, and I think they looked at that and they said like we have to take him now, otherwise he's not going to be there. Like that was the.
He got bumped up.
That was I got bumped up. Yeah, I was supposed to go in the fourth.
Gage, did you get bumped up?
No, I got bumped down.
Anyways, yeah. So I mean, for me, it was like, well, you throw big hits, right?
Yeah.
Throw big hits, get in fights. I mean, that's how you're gonna get noticed, and if you're not necessarily gonna do that against your own teammates. So it was more like I almost felt that I had more of a chance to make an impact in the like exhibition game levels than just in
Go out
camp
and do
normal. But
something.
I think the evaluation is a little bit different, as it is for goalies, where it's like if you have a young goalie that comes in, like if Stuart Skinner comes in and plays unbelievable. Well, you know, he may not be in that starting roster at the start of the year, but it's like that reflects quite well on him.
He's in a position where he has to play lights out and he knows he's going to go down, right?
Yeah.
But you got to put that seed in management's eyes and in their heads that, well, if one of these bums start messing up, I can call up him and we know what he's capable of.
It's that development check.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, where are they at in their development? Are they ready for this if we need them?
Play well enough, you might move up the depth chart a little bit
Yeah.
for next time or something along those
Yeah.
lines. All right, I want to get to the early Stanley Cup odds. OddsShark is the presenting sponsor here of the Two Guys and a Goalie podcast, and they provided us with the odds right now on the Stanley Cup. And we're not going to go through all of them, but if you'll get a look at it on the live stream, but for those of you who are just listening to the podcast, which will be many of you, Tampa Bay Lightning plus 750, Boston Bruins at plus 1100. Oh wait, no, I went down the wrong way. Tampa plus 750, Toronto plus 900, Vegas plus 1,000, Boston plus 1,100, Colorado plus 1,300, the defending champ St. Louis Blues at plus 1,500, Florida at plus 1,700, Nashville at plus 18, Dallas at plus 17, and the San Jose Sharks at plus 18, and then Washington, who won it a couple years ago, at 11th right now at plus 2,000. If I was to give you $100 right now, where do you think your best return on your money would be? Like,
Ottawa Senators.
Well, of course they would have to win. They are plus 20,000 right now. I don't know if I've ever seen a team have worse odds than the Ottawa Senators.
Love a long
taking
shot,
$10.
huh?
I'm just gonna put $10 on
Just
that.
put $10 on them. But no, I mean, is it Tampa again, or do you like somebody else that maybe further down on the list that you think might be worth it?
Like best. I mean, Tampa's Tampa. They're going to have a really great team again. But you look at, okay, are they going to be able to respond to a team like Boston, who most likely is going to be in the playoffs again, like that has a little bit of physicality, because that's what Tampa just struggled with. Like the game got really physical, really quickly, and space got taken away, and they could not deal with it. Now they have more experience, and I think we'll adjust to it, but still hard to put it against them. You know what? The outside one I'm going to put in here. It's not outside, I guess. They're fifth, but I really like Colorado.
Okay, all right.
I really like Colorado. I think is well.
I'm gonna make
let me
note
put
for
it.
10
You
months
make
from
it.
now.
Yeah, make
Yeah.
it on there. I think part of it probably depends on Rantanen and if they can get him signed and how quickly and if he comes in, because he is such a huge part of that. But I actually really like some of the offseason moves, and I think from a young blue line to some of the offensive punch that they have, they're going to be a good team. So they're my. If I wanted to do something a little bit not just Tampa, I'm going with Colorado.
Gager, what do you got?
I was thinking about that Colorado thing actually this morning, but If I think I go Vegas. I like the way they play, and their goals.
Where is Vegas on this?
You just want. There's all kinds of new Vegas fans. That's why he wants to.
Are you just a bandwagon Golden Knights fan?
Golden Knights fans are all in it.
I like the pre-production of the game.
That's
I like to
You're
get motivated.
just gonna say Toronto because you want to get all the.
No, look, people know I love the Leafs already, so I'm going to say the Florida Panthers. I'm going to say with Sergei Bobrovsky. Well, to be honest with you, I'm kind of surprised. They have the seventh best odds right now.
I didn't think they're going to be that high.
But they have Joel Quenneville as head coach, right? Coach Q's there now, I think. Yeah, he's there.
Yep.
They brought in Sergei Bobrovsky, who's a significant upgrade on old Roberto Luongo or whoever else they've had there. And I love Alexander Barkov. He's a Finn who hasn't quit yet and moved home. And he was an absolute stud last year. He could win the Selke. He could win. He's an absolute stud. And you mix in the Hubertos and the other guys that they brought in there. I like. So, I mean, would I pick Tampa to win it? I probably would pick Tampa to win it. But as far as these odds go, I don't mind the Florida Panthers at plus 1,700. I think it's all right. Pittsburgh at plus 2,400. That'll be an interesting year. What did you make of Malkin saying he would have requested a trade if they didn't trade Kessel?
Yeah, that was weird.
That's weird, right?
Yeah.
They were teammates. They were line mates for a long time.
Personality issues, man. You're always.
Well, you see those two on the bench though. They were always fighting. And Kessel
They were always going back and forth.
I think there's an example of two very different work ethics and personality. Like, not going to say one's better than the other, but just two very different people that couldn't figure out how to communicate.
As we become podcasters, I wanted to talk about this a little bit.
As we become.
Yeah, we're just getting started.
We thought we were going to have a practice day, man.
Oh, I think practice run went pretty well.
Yeah.
I was pretty happy with it. But no, are you ready to have a podcaster's life? Are you expecting any changes to your lifestyle being a podcaster? Are you going to dress any differently?
Well, I do have to get down to podcast weight, so I'll
Gager's in the gym to get into podcast shape.
Yeah, and no, I'm. They always say surround yourself with good people.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you guys are doing, but I hit the jackpot there. I hit the jackpot.
Okay.
Cass, what about you? I mean, you dress so well for your everyday job now.
You gotta dress well. I mean, now it's gonna force me to get my haircut on time
that's
because I'm gonna know that the video's
Sport
coming.
Clips.
Yeah. Get the haircut at Sport Clips, so that'll be good. I don't know. It's going to be different. I mean, it's interesting because going from the radio to this, where this is anyone can go and listen to it at any time. Where the radio, it's they can go and do that, but it's more like they're going to listen to it live.
Yeah.
So even after doing a podcast for the first time the other week, it's like I had more buddies texting me being like, "You're an idiot."
So that's what you have to look forward to.
That's what I have to look forward to. Is more people saying that. Yeah. So.
Well, that'll go over well.
It'll be good.
Yeah.
It'll be good. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I mean, I look forward to being better dressed than you guys most days.
Well, I'm starting to feel like I'm going to have to up my game. I mean, I thought wearing a golf shirt today would be nice enough, but apparently not, Mr. Old Button-Up over here. Gager, what's the logo on your shirt? What is this?
This is a video game shirt.
It's a video game shirt.
Yeah.
You're wearing a video game shirt.
Yeah.
I would make fun of you, but I collect hockey cards, and he's into Magic, so your video game shirt's not the end of the world. What video game though?
This is Destiny. I have over 24,000
Oh, actually,
Crucible
somebody
kills.
messaged in
That's the old Destiny playing.
Wait, say that again. You've got over what?
25,000 Crucible kills.
Is that a good number?
I don't know. There's probably all guys with a lot more.
I was gonna say, how do you find time to game?
No, I don't. But
you just wear the shirt.
Yeah.
It's funny. A couple of my buddies, we were trying to figure out what to do one time, and so we just were like, let's play video games.
Yeah.
And so we did, and now we love it again.
Oh no.
Yeah. So it's.
I do play this.
Playing
game.
a little bit, but you know what? My time. This is my time. Is that time between 10:30 and 11:30. If I want to stay up late.
I know.
That's my time.
I know. That's the worst. That's my time too.
Yeah. It's if I want time to myself, that's all the time I get.
But then you're tired the next day.
I know. So it's a trade-off. You're kind of weighing.
What game were you playing?
We were doing Call of Duty. I mean, get right back to the old, not old school, but that's back when I was playing, when I was 20, living in Houston, so everyone's
playing
single.
all the time?
It's you finish practice, you're done at 1, you go get lunch, you go home, and everyone's signing in, you're all playing Call of Duty together.
Such a waste of
team.
time.
Oh, terrible waste of time.
But what else could you have been doing? You just
school, man. I could have finished my degree
know
earlier.
3 languages and stuff.
Yeah, I would have finished my degrees years earlier than I did.
Yeah. But they're fun.
But they are fun.
But they never became a major issue, did they?
No,
for some guys, they're addicted to video games now. But back then, it was just you play and that was it.
Not
right?
like they are now.
Yeah. No, it's fun. I've got a Nintendo Switch, Because that's yeah. My wife got it for me for Christmas last year, and I was going to Spangler Cup last year. You call that, and I took it, and it was amazing because I was on a plane for like 9 hours. But now that's like the only way I get to game is when I take my Nintendo Switch on the road because I'm flying to do football and stuff. That's like my only fix, but it's a great idea.
Yeah.
It's a great idea because then I'm not at home, but I still got a season of FIFA going. But it's just when I'm on the road, which is excellent. All right, so that's going to do it for episode 1 of Two Guys and a Goalie. It is presented to you by Odd Shark. Thank you very much for them, and of course for Popeyes and Sport Clip for hopping on board as well. We're going to be back on Thursday once again, so make sure you download that episode as well. For a test run today, which ended up not being a test run. I think it went pretty well.
It's okay. It's all right.
I was pretty happy with it. Thank you to Hernan Salas for here and operating for us as well. That's going to do it. We will be back on Thursday with our second episode. We'll continue to talk about some of the stories developing through the preseason and training camp as well. So for Matt Kassian and Joaquin Gage, I'm Dustin Nielsen. You've been listening to Two Guys and a Goalie. Let's do it again. Thank you very much and have a good day.